without reaching that round, the longest streak all time. Speaking of 11 straight, that's how many games San Francisco has won in a row, including 6 with Brock Purdy as the starter. He accounted for 4 touchdowns in his playoff debut last week. Since week 7, these are the only teams in the league to score 30 points per game. So it sets up an epic rematch from last year's postseason, and Dak Prescott is ready.
Most definitely I did. I think this whole team did. Obviously, using that loss last year as a motivation and just kind of the focal point, I guess, of the resiliency that we carried into the offseason, obviously carried into this year. Yeah, we get a chance to go back at their place, do something that we want to do.
All right, now, should Dallas and Dak be careful what they wish for? San Francisco finishes the regular season with the #1 scoring defense in the NFL, so Sunday will be the 6th time since the merger that Dallas has squared off against the top defense in the playoffs. And as you see, in recent years, that hasn't gone so well. All right, RC up with us early. Let me quickly start with you. Ryan Clark, what is the single most important thing Dak Prescott has to do to give his team a chance to win on Sunday?
Dak Prescott has to protect the football. He needs to protect the football like a new baby. Or if you're a single man without kids, protect the football like you protect the password to your iPhone. You don't want anyone on the San Francisco 49ers to come close to getting a turnover, close to getting an interception. In the games that the Dallas Cowboys have struggled, the games that have been close, the games that they've lost, it's been because Dak Prescott has turned the football over and put this team in harm's way. Go back to last week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He was decisive in every decision that he had to make. He put the football right exactly where it needed to be for his players to get yards after the catch, and he used his legs when he had the opportunity to escape the pocket and make plays. Dak Prescott needs to be everything that he was against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and more, but that starts with protecting the ball. If they protect the ball, they have the skill players to make plays against this vaunted San Francisco 49ers defense. But if he reverts back to turnover Dak, this could be a blowout in San Francisco.
All right, so there you go. As they step up in class against the defense, and Tim, as my quarterback today, you've put together some tape on Dak.
Yeah, I think what's interesting, like last week, the Cowboys saw a lot of 3 deep. You're going to see a lot of 3 deep, like you do against a lot of teams, but you're going to see a lot of 3 deep against the Niners. I thought Kellen Moore had a great plan. Here's a good example. They're in kind of a condensed formation. They obviously motion out of it. They're trying to get a horizontal stretch on the free safety by running basically a seam. It's kind of a post to the bottom, but then that shallow cross is going to hold the underneath coverage. And so by doing this, it's going to get the attentions of the linebackers that would typically carry the tight end up the seam, and it's going to create a void between the corner who can't midline it because of the motion and the free safety. And so I think we talk so much about, hey, Dak's going to play great and this and that, but like, let's not forget Kellen Moore as well. Kellen Moore is very creative. Does an excellent job in the red zone. I think that he's going to have a plan. And what that does is it helps the quarterback see it, which ultimately leads to the guy being decisive and not turning the football over.
Yeah, I love watching the other players watch those tapes too, Nick. I was staring at that thing and, you know, the 3 deep and all that kind of stuff. To be clear, the 49ers play a lot of zone, and you were telling me earlier this morning, what is the key for Dak against a zone defense?
Timing and windows. So you have to be able to stand in the pocket, and that's why the pass rush is so vital for the 49ers, because when you're playing zone, you're basically reading the quarterback. So you want your front to get after the quarterback and speed up his timing. So it's going to be key that Dak uses his legs, not to run, I'm saying not use his legs to run for first downs, but to avoid the rush. And if he has to move in the pocket to get that timing correct, he's going to have to. And that's going to be vital, because if you're a pass rusher for the 49ers, you understand we got to get Dak off the spot. We got to get to the quarterback. If you can get to the quarterback and rush 4 guys, it's going to be a long day for Dallas.
And that's why, Diana, you're looking in front of Dak as much as anything else.
Yeah, when you talk about Kellen Moore having a plan, well, they better have a plan for Nick Bosa, right? Because we know he is just an absolute game wrecker. And you look at this offense and you try to point out who is going to be key outside Dak. It has to be the protection. They have to be able to protect Dak, knowing that, yes, he is going to be mobile, he's going to use his legs, but back to what Nick said, he doesn't need to run that much. He truly does not. but obviously keeping him up on his feet is going to be
And what you
significant.
see spot shadow there is the rookie left tackle, Tyler Smith, who's done a very good job. And not that he'll be alone out there against Nick Bosa, but I've been saying all week long, if we come in here on Monday morning and we say the best player on the field was Nick Bosa, this game's over.
Yeah.
I mean, the Cowboys have literally no chance to win it. Let's spin it, meanwhile, to the other side, because I come in here this morning, I'm talking to my quarterback, Tim Hasselbeck. What does Dak have to do? And he immediately wants to go to the other side, to your side.
Let's go, Rob. Let's
Come
go.
on, let's go.
Switch it out.
No one knows better than you, or at least no one has a greater memory than you do of going up against Kyle Shanahan.
Well, Kyle Shanahan, he was offensive coordinator for the Falcons. That was the last game I played in the Super Bowl. And the type of offense that he runs, zone stretch, likes to spread the defense out, likes to get you space. So, like, this is a great example. The back is away. I'm just a defensive end here. What they do here is a great matchup with the inside linebackers, because the inside linebackers have coverage, and Shanahan likes to have mismatches and pick routes. So this was a great play on the low red, and I was mad right here, very mad. I might have said a few words right there. But the inside linebackers, the tight ends, the bunch routes, everything is about getting you condensed and then trying to spread you out to where there's a lot of miscommunication. You have to speak. You got to talk to your communication on defense has to be crisp. That has to be clear. So if you don't understand your assignment before each snap, that's when Kyle Shanahan.
Can I for a second? Now I know why Belichick loves this guy.
Yeah.
Like, who comes in and is like, here's a low light? Yeah. Who does that? He might be the only guy at the company who's like, hey,
Here's me, terrible.
Here's me actually getting beat by somebody, right?
Here's a touchdown I allowed in the Super Bowl.
I mean, like,
it was at that point. It was 28-3 at that point. Nobody really. So like, see how they have a nasty split. That means it's tight to the formation. The safety is on the tight end man up. So with that picks you for just a split second, what I needed to do there was take a step forward and then get flat down the line of scrimmage, which in the heat of the moment, you're just trying to get flat. Guy runs a 4-4 against a 5 flat. Like, that's not good. So again, just the brains of Kyle Shanahan and his offensive system. It's all about, rolling through the script. He has probably a 10 to 15 play script where to start the game, he's going to have his 5 to 10 best plays ready to go. So the key here is a negative play. So if you can have a negative play within the script, it throws off the script. So he wants to roll through that script, keep things going, keep things moving, maybe even up tempo, fast tempo, and get the ball out of the young quarterback's hands quickly.
So stopping McCaffrey on first down then for the Dallas defense becomes the key. RC, help me with this, because I'm sure a lot of football fans listen to all the conversation about Kyle Shanahan. And he's the only coach in the NFL that I hear, it doesn't matter who the quarterback is, it doesn't matter anything else, he's going to scheme it up, all that kind of stuff. Either Kyle Shanahan is the greatest offensive coach that was ever born, or something different is going on here. What is Dallas's key against them on Sunday?
Well, first off, it's not necessarily that he's the greatest coach that was ever born, because think about when he didn't have Jimmy Garoppolo since he's been in San Francisco. This team has been not just average, but way below average. Here's what's happened to this team this year. You have Kyle Juszczyk, you have Deebo Samuel, you have Christian McCaffrey, you have George Kittle, you have Brandon Ayuk. You have elite skill players all over the entire field, and skill players who are positionless. This is like, and Mina Kimes mentioned this on Tuesday, it's like playing against the Golden State Warriors in basketball. All of Brock Purdy has to do is get the football out of his hands, and you're getting the football out of your hands with all of this window dressing, with all of this motion, with these different personnel that can be used with the same type of people that put you in formations that you aren't prepared for defensively. Kyle Shanahan right now is the ultimate puppet master, and we're watching the Muppet Babies. Everything that he gets an opportunity to do, and every way he gets a chance to use these players, he does, and he just wants them in space, one-on-one with the defenders of the Dallas Cowboys. So the number one thing is freaking tackle. When you have a guy in your area, understand your leverage, understand your pursuit angle, and understand where your help is coming from. Because when you don't, slants turn to touchdowns, screens turn to touchdowns, outs turn to touchdowns, hitches turns to touchdowns. Yes, Brock Purdy has played absolutely phenomenal, and he's been 100% relevant no matter when he was drafted. But if the Dallas Cowboys want to make hay, Micah Parsons has to be the best player on the field this weekend, and they have to be physical when tackling the guy with the ball. If you do those things, you give your chance a chance to not only stop this offense, but win this football game.
How do you see it, Diana?
Stop the run. That's all that screamed to me, and he did a great job of breaking down what Dallas needs to do. But on top of everything that Kyle calls so well and has consistently, they run the ball so well against these. When they win, that's where they're winning the game, on the ground.
Yeah, since they got Christian McCaffrey, they've been as good and diverse in offense. Again, with quote-unquote Mr. Irrelevant at quarterback. Let's see, read them and weep. What do the picks say? Cowboys, Niners. Ooh, Nico, you're the only one riding San Francisco.
Defense wins championships. I like the number one defense. All right, just call me a defender. But anyway, at the end of the day, I like the 49ers defense. They're going to create maybe 1 or 2 turnovers. They're nasty. They get after the quarterback. I love their front. I love their linebacking core. They probably have the best linebacking duo in the NFL right now. So I'm going with the 49ers. And then offensively, of course, they have a young quarterback, but it's not so much about him. It's the other guys around him that make him, play at a high level.
So he's picking with defense. I'm picking because I'm trying to speak it into existence. Tim, why are you picking the Cowboys?
Listen, I think they'll have a good plan. I think running the ball is going to be tough. I think they rely heavily on Dak. I think Dak plays well against this defense. And ultimately, when I look at Brock Purdy, I think I see it a little bit differently than RC in that I think Brock Purdy's been creating a lot of offense. It hasn't just been like everything exactly on time. He's started to create. The easiest way you get into trouble as a quarterback is you start playing outside the design of the play. And we see a lot of great physically talented guys do that. Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes. When other guys do it, you can get into trouble. I've called some of his games in college. I've seen it happen. I've seen the good and bad. And so I do think at some point as he gets loose with it, I'd be concerned.
All right, giving you stuff to watch for. We have so much to go as we continue on this jam-packed Football Friday. Coming up, the other NFC matchup, equally fascinating. The Giants defense